Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. I hope you're keeping well and that everything's going okay. Today I'm just coming in with a nice little gentle play. This is the design I'm doing. I was looking through my stamps and I found this gorgeous stamp called Wet Wings. I haven't used this in so long. Have you got this stamp? Maybe you could follow along with me. That would be lovely. And so what we're going to do is start off with a piece of multifarious card, and this is the 5.5 inch square. I'm just going to stamp my Wet Wings first, and I'm going to use the Nocturne, so that's the black VersaFine Clair. So I'm just going to stamp this sort of in the middle, more near to the bottom than the top. This is what I wanted to use as my focal point. So I've stamped my main image first. Now I'm going to add some background colour. Now these are elements, so these are dye-based. They blend beautifully. And I'm going to start in the middle. The idea is I want to create almost like a bright area around my Wet Wings, and then it get darker as it goes out. So the way I'm going to do that is start with Sundance, which is my yellow, then move into Sahara, which is sort of a dirty browny yellow, and then into my russet orange. And a little tip I would always recommend when you've put your stencil brush in the ink, so this is the yellow we're starting off with, I always blend it in the lid. I find it just distributes the ink in that brush and I've less chance of getting marks, and it's a good habit to get into. You'll see so many of us do this. So we're going to start in the middle. The other thing is hold your brush gently, 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 and I'm just doing circular motions. Try to be patient, don't rush it. Gently, gently. Yeah, happy with that. So now I'm going to go in to the Sahara, same thing in the lid. And then I'm just going to sort of start here. And then, now do remember we are going to add some mottled, some faux bleach into this. So don't be hard on yourself. You will get the odd bit of a line. What I tend to do now, come back in with the yellow and just blend over that gap. You'll get so used to doing this. Then into the orange. Again, I'm just coming round and round to get that lovely orange look. And then what I'm going to do is actually just add a little bit more in those corners. Now, don't worry if we have some bits. We're going to add some brown on top of this. So don't worry at all. I just want a deep orange here, and I just want to show you how it will all turn out all right. I'm going to come in with, let me just say, truffle. Same thing in the lid. Now this, I'm going to come in from the corners. So in the lid and then in the corners. And what I tend to do, have a piece of kitchen roll, or you can use copy paper, just so I don't get any moisture on my hands. So just add the colour on the corner first and then down the sides, turn it round, and again you'll get into a lovely routine of doing this. Now I just need a bit more in that corner. Look, it looks paler to me than the others, so we'll just top that up a bit. What we'll do now is a little bit more stamping. So I'm going to come in at the top with this lovely thistle branch. I love this. Great for men's cards. If you're stuck for men's cards design, this works really well. And I'm going to use pine cone. And I'm just going to angle it a little bit at the sides, look. And then we'll have another one. And I find it easier to turn my work. Just, you'll get in your own routine. You know, we just come in with ideas for you, but you will. If you do things differently, really does it as long as it works for you. I always say, you know, look around, get as much advice as you can, but then go with whatever works for you. Because we all have our own little quirks. Got to be honest, as you know, I have quite a few. There we go. And I just love that shape. Now, another lovely stamp here, and one I don't see used very often. Fern head singles. I find them useful for this because I'm going to have them pointing from both sides. So we'll come in from this side first, but look at that detail. Absolutely stunning. Each little hair shows up. But honestly, my head was spinning. I haven't used these for so long. So we'll just put one more here. Then we'll pop the other one on. But I love that. Look at the different, and for me it just goes with where the fairies are. Now the other stamp I need to show you is this beautiful, and it's called Leaf 2, and it's one of the minis. Now again, I've had this for years, but when I looked at the top of our lovely washing line look, I thought that really matches it well. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to add some more of this stamping at the bottom. And again, if you're not sure what it'll look like, use your acetate. Now, I don't want too much, and look at that, I don't want it to go over the wing. So if I bring in a piece of copy paper, look, I can then alter how high I put this. So we'll mask off this little bit and then come in with this lovely stamp, and we'll just put some of this growing at the base, look. And I think that goes beautifully. Let's just extend a little bit over here. Then we'll have some on this side. And then maybe we can have one on this side actually going up here. And then maybe just a little bit in the middle, like it's just started to set seed and just grow, you know, like it does in a path, just a little bit in the middle. So that was the Leaf 2, one of the mini stamps. Do check them out, I love the mini stamps. And then I need something just to fill in this space, but I don't want it to be too heavy. So field grass. Field grass and orchard grass, just so useful. Because they're such light stamps, look, we can just add a little bit. First, second generation. So again, for our lovely new followers, first time you use your stamp, first generation. If you don't re-ink, that's your second generation, and it's paler. And it just gives lovely tones. It helps with perspective, but also it just helps how the whole design looks. It's not too heavy. And you see the difference for me? This side looks more complete, but it's not too full. It's not taking away from this. It's just finishing the edges off nicely. We don't want to go too heavy. You don't want to spoil it. And at the top, we'll do the same. Now, I know you're going to say to me, Jo, field grass grows up, but we're in the magical land of fairies. And I think if you've not got many stamps, you can stamp your field grass growing down. Who says it doesn't? I mean, in the magical land of fairies, it's magic. Anything can happen. And I just want to show you that for me, that finishes this design. And again, if you haven't got any more stamps, you can use the same stamp, top and bottom. And it does help with that cohesive design, so it all goes together. Give that a blot. VersaFine Clear is a slower drying ink, so always best to get in a good habit of blot your work before you do anything else. So, some finishing tricks now, and what we're going to do is add a little bit more colour around the edge, and that's why we blotted it. Now this time I want it darker, so I'm really coming in on those corners, look. So again, And I like to do that because once I've done my stamping, it gives me an idea of how dark to go. Now, I'm actually coming straight in this time because I know my ink pad and I know how much colour I want, and I'm just coming in from that edge. So I'm doing a little bit down the sides, but it's mainly on those corners. And can you see how that really frames it? So that's henna and truffle we've used for around the edge. And like I say, you see how it's framed it now and your eyes go into the middle. So, pastel pencils, love these. First of all, the white, and I'm just going to add some little highlights. Not going to overthink it, just if we've got a glow from here, we're going to have some little white and it'll just catch, look, on here. Maybe just a couple. And then with a yellow, I just want to emphasise the yellow here. And I'm just going to use my finger. It's pastel pencil, so that just by smudging it, it does two things. It helps fix it. We don't need a spray fixative because it's only a small amount of pastel. But also for me, I think it looks nicer when it's smudged. And I just think it just adds that little bit of, maybe a little bit around the wings, just to emphasise and bring out that yellow, that lovely glow. I mean, it is washing day after all. And then with our black, just going to add some shadow here. So you see there where they don't quite finish off, and I know you new lovely ladies and gentlemen, you'll be thinking that doesn't look right, Jo. Well, it will look when I add the shading. And we'll have a little bit more there. And I've just got some biodegradable cotton buds here. And just for the black, rather than using my finger, I'm just going to use this to smudge it. And again, so we've got that lovely, and you see what I mean, how that just, for me, these little finishing tricks really help. So now I'm going to colour the wings. And for this, I'm going to come in with, you could use watercolour pencils. I'm just going to use my pens here. And these are the Zig pens. Now, I will list all the numbers underneath, but first of all, we're going to use two blues, and it's number 36, light blue, and 34, Della blue. Oh, dull blue. And I'm just going to come in, and I'm going to use my darker colour first, at the top here, look. And then I can pick a little bit up on my lighter colour, and then drag it down, and you'll get a lovely blend then between the light and the dark. And if you pick the darker colour up, your pen will go back to the light colour. So it gives a lovely blend. So that's my two blues. So all I did was went and looked for two blue colours. And then we've got two pinks. So we've got 200, which is almond pink, and 27, dark pink. So again, darker colour at the top, look, and down the middle. And then this time I'm just going to drag that colour, and they work beautifully over that ink underneath. Obviously you will get a slight colour change because you have got the ink underneath, but I like the tones that you get anyway. And I just think it gives that lovely shading, but look at that, just beautiful. If you want to come in with a darker bit again down the middle, go on top. So that's the pink. Now we've got green, 41 light green, and 49 green shadow. Now it might be you just want them one colour. I just find I like to just add a little bit of tone. It just really helps, and it gives your design almost that lovely finished look. And then for my oranges, I actually went for 67 mustard and 70 orange. And it was just to tone in with the colours. I sort of gone for a brown tone rather than a yellow. I thought it would blend better. Now again, you will take longer than me. I'm just aware, you know what I'm like. I can talk for England. Right, put the lids on. So they're the clean colour. Beautiful. And they blend lovely on that multifarious. And lastly, I'm going to come in with my grey and just add a little bit more shadow under that washing line. Your grey is great for adding a little bit of shadows. So just in a couple of areas, we'll add a little bit more shadow. And it works well between the yellow and the grey, the highlight and the shadow. So, a couple more finishing tricks. And we're going to add some water splats just for some faux bleaching, just to add a little bit more interest. But also, if you're worried about how your blending looks, these lovely water splats really finish it off and they can hide a multitude of sins. This is permanent ink, so it won't move. This is just water, my fan brush in water, and it will only react with that dye-based ink. And the darker the ink, the more reaction you'll get. So I'm going right up to the corners. Now, sometimes I even wait till it's dry, add more brown ink, and then go back over the corners and add more water. That almost, when you do it with a dark brown, it almost looks like suede. So have a play with that technique as well. And what I'm going to do, for me, that's best left to faux bleach on its own. So while we're doing that, I'm going to get some Stickles, and this is Stardust. Now mine is nearly empty. Now it will spit, it's got wind, so if you knew, your Stickles will have wind. I tend to put mine, especially near the end. Look, I've only got a little left, but we're crafters, aren't we? So we use every last little drop. So I'm going to paint mine on. I've got an empty Wink of Stella brush here, which I use for my Stickles. And I'm going to pick that up and paint it on the wings. And it gives chance for my water to do its faux bleaching. And this I find, because I paint it, and this is a lovely brush, I can get it exactly where I want it. And like I say, I can use every last little bit in that bottle. Because we're crafters, aren't we? We like to use every single last little bit of everything we have, and so we should. Right, we'll just wipe that up, and then I don't put my fingers in it. Now, just for today, because I'm here with you and I'm conscious of time, I'm going to dab this with my kitchen roll. I'm going to be mindful not to dab my wings because they'll be wet as well. Now, you can speed this up with a heat tool, but just me personally, I think it always looks better if you let it dry just organically itself. But look at that, I love this. So magical. So just going to make this sure this bit's dry at the bottom because I want to add my lovely sticker sentiment. And I'm going to use one. In the set, we have black, white, and this lovely brown. And I think the brown goes really well. And I've gone for blow away the cobwebs because I'm thinking the washing's out. I should have put blow away the wings really, shouldn't I? But we're blowing away those cobwebs. So I tend to put mine on my scissors, look. And then I can just make sure it's in the right place. We'll pop it there. And although I love the brown on brown, it doesn't quite stand out enough. So I'm just going to use my pastel pencil. Now, you could use your fine liner pen for this, but because I've got pastel there, I think it will, I'm all about this cohesive design. You want it to look like you've thought about it, and it will tone better. So I think the black and black look really well together. And just for me, I always do my shadowing underneath and to the right-hand side of my sentiments. We'll have a little bit there. And I think that stands out really well. And then one last little thing that I want to include. A couple of you have asked me how you can make your splats into orbs. Really, really easy. All you do is look for one of your white. We'll quickly put the heat tool over this just to make sure that they are dry, just to show you this little bit. Dead easy. Take yourself a white splat, some white pastel pencil around it, look. and then get your white gel pen or your Posca and add a little bit in the middle. So we'll have a couple of these, we'll have another one there. I don't want to overdo it. And then, oh, let's have one here. And if you've got your pan pastels, you could use your pan pastels instead of your pastel pencil. And then if I just bring that close, can you see? You get those lovely white orbs. So you can have it with or without the orbs. So I'm just going to lift my inks. So that's the finished design, and that's my offering for today. We're going to put those wet wings on the washing line and blow away those cobwebs. So I do hope you've enjoyed that. I'll bring in the finished one just to show you when you mat and layer, look at the difference. So I'm off now, you know what for, cheeky brew and biscuit. It's got to be done. So you take care. I hope the rest of your week goes well and have a lovely weekend when it arrives. I will see you again soon. Be kind to each other, please. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.